I'd like to call this meeting to order. If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is the moment of silence. Today's moment of silence will be dedicated to Trinity Balin Weher and Ed McKinney. Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Mason.
Present.
Trustee Reinders.
Present.
Trustee McNaughton.
Present.
Trustee Consolino.
Present.
Trustee Fialco.
Present.
Trustee Stylen.
Present.
Mayor Knight-Trike.
Present.
Ooh, full board.
Yeah, woohoo. Next is community recognition. I'm going to apologize in advance because I do have a long recognition today. First, is there any veterans in the room? If you could please rise, we'd like to give you a round of applause. And thank you for your service. On November 3rd, village staff, village manager Joe Baber, trustees Rose Reinders, Sue Stylen, and Kurt Mason, village clerk Candace Bilski, volunteers from all over, Juniors Women Club, DJ Dave Ramos, singer Giuliano Molinaro, local businesses such as Taza, Pelican Harry's, Chesdon's, Nothing But Cakes, City Barbecue, Polonia Catering, Phoenix, Papa Joe's, Coombs Corner, Paradise Bay, Joey's Red Hots, Patty B's, Babaloo's, Sam's Bar, Game On, Larry the Ice Cream Guy, Mug Shots, and the Ability Awareness Committee, the Boy Scouts, Will County Sheriff's Honor Guard, the fire departments, and Kono's Corn Maze all came together to put on yet another successful Veterans Day celebration. With their efforts, the event was able to raise roughly $1,700 that was put towards the Veteran Day boxes. The Homer Glen American Legion Michael Oliveri Post 2011 also raised close to $3,100 that was also donated to the veterans boxes. Again, volunteer staff, Trustee Sue Stylen, came together to organize and pack 250 veterans boxes. Each veteran within our village, at least that we're aware of, received a Veterans Day box delivered by staff and volunteers. They delivered over 250 boxes. The 2024 Veterans Day package sponsors were Trustee Rose Reinders, Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group, Victorian Village, Sports Clips Haircuts in Homer Glen, Chesdon's Pizzeria and Restaurant, Dunkin' Donuts, Nikki's Bar and Gaming, State Farm Michelle Kerfin, Laura Elkins Country Financial, Trailblazer Plumbing, Miss Chrislam, Julio Latine, and Laura Biestrick, along with, again, the American Legion Post 2011 in Homer Glen and the Lockport Post 9 in Lockport. On November 11th, I was honored to sit alongside Lou Zemke, the gentleman in the far back, his men, Keith Gray, Candace Bilski, Ron Cuss, my husband, and Brittany Para at the Veterans Day Service Luncheon hosted by the American Legion in Marion Village. The afternoon was quite breathtaking, memorable, and educational. I wanted to take a moment and thank Lou, his brothers in Marion Village, for including us in the event and making us feel right at home. I also wanted to thank the staff for taking time out of their day to experience this moment and taking it all in. Also on November 11th, we, across the nation, honored those who gave their lives and those who have risked their lives so that our nation can remain free. Personally, I think we should honor our veterans and active military every single day. They should be honored daily, receive the utmost respect, be given grace, and be shown every bit of kindness. One small kind gesture can go a long way. Which leads me to my next recognition. Just yesterday, a resident of Homer Glen reached out to me about her Vietnam veteran uncle who was in need of a water heater. She asked if I can help. With one quick post on social media, a Vietnam veteran quickly had 3 water heaters with the installment paid for in full. Once the post was updated, notifying all that the water heater was taken care of, 27 residents offered to pitch in additional funds for whatever the Vietnam vet needed. I wanted to take a moment and thank all 27 residents who stepped up to assist. RA Plumbing and Mechanical for ultimately being selected to cover all costs and installment. They even offered to replace the damaged floor underneath the tank. Home Depot and Chris Coffey also stepped in to assist. Mike Myers, Frankie, and Jamie Dowdle to stepping up and assisting me in managing all the calls, texts, and messages that came through to assist this Vietnam vet. Because of this post, our very own Brent Woods, who sits on the board of the Disabled Patriot Fund, reached out to me. The Disabled Patriot Fund raises money for veterans who have combat-related injuries and/or illnesses. If you know of a veteran who may have a combat-related injury or illness, please have them contact disabledpatriotfund.org. They have funds to share. I would like to recognize the Boy Scout Troop 229 for the unbelievable amount of flags posted around our beautiful village. 390 flags were proudly displayed around our community with their efforts. 45 of those posted flags were donated by a neighbor to a veteran. Thank you again to the Boy Scout 229 for their efforts in beautifying our village with our American flag. Unfortunately, in the mix of this positive outpour of support for our veterans, we had 2 additional veteran families reach out in need of additional support. I'm not asking for this community to donate, because I know they will anyways, but what I'm asking for is for all to remember our veterans this holiday season. They are the reason we are able to do what we do on our holidays with our families. Due to more veterans needing support, Jamie and Frankie Dowdle are stepping up to the plate to form our very own Homer Glen's Veterans Commission to assist veterans with items they may need. Once I have more information on that, I'll be happy to share. I'd also like to thank the Ability Awareness Committee for all of their hard work and dedication to the committee itself. This committee is starting to grow, become more active, and really take charge. This crew doesn't really ask for much. They use their own funds from their own pockets to give back to our community. This past trunk or treat, they decided instead of using the money from our Ability Awareness Committee, they themselves pitched in and provided candy to families at trunk or treat. They did the same for the Veterans Day event. They always have time to volunteer, offer help, and truly are there for our families. I just wanted to take a moment and recognize them as well. Thank you. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, I'd like to remove K1 from the consent agenda. And we can put it in at L1A or L1, whatever you want to do, just so it's at the beginning.
Okay, are there any additional amendments to the agenda? Okay.
Yeah, wait, I would like to move up, sorry, I'm looking at the new one now. Yeah, 1 sec. Could I move up L8 and L9, I'm sorry, L8 and L7 to, we could make that L1, B and 2, or 1B and C?
Does she need a second on that one? Okay, so we're moving L7 and L8 to LB and LC?
Yeah, just with the subcommittee because they've waited long enough.
Okay. All right. Any more amendments? All right. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Fialko, is there a second? Trustee Reinders? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fialko.
Aye.
Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Trustee Stylen.
Aye.
Trustee Consolino.
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton.
Aye.
Trustee Mason.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we're moving to approval of minutes, August 14th, 2024, special village board meeting. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Reinders, is there a second?
I'll second.
Trustee McNaughton, any discussion?
Yes.
Trustee Fialko?
And not to split hairs, but in some of the other ones, and I explained it to Candace a little bit earlier, On these, now we're on August 14th, the first one, right? Because there's two for August 14th. So we're on one. But it's consistent through all of them. We're in our agenda, or I mean in the minutes, where it says roll call. I can give you an example from January 10th, 2024. It does mention at the end who was absent and that a quorum was established. But in the rest of these that I looked through today, there's nowhere as it said who was absent, and on every one of them, there was one or two people absent. And not that that matters. It's just I would like us to be consistent with, you know, in the way we structure this. So somebody from the public can look real quick and say, okay, these are the people that were there, these are the people that weren't there, and it's just easily identifiable. But that would be all I've got to say on that one. But no offense to you at all.
Okay, any more discussion?
Nope.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton.
Aye.
Trustee Mason.
Aye.
Trustee Fialko.
Aye.
Trustee Stylen.
Aye.
Trustee Consolino.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is August 14th, 2024, regular village board meeting. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Mason? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Stylen, any discussion?
Yes, I have on page 8, 5B, in that last paragraph where it says, where I gave my comments, it would be the third line from the bottom where it says liquor license, could deny the liquor license. It's actually gaming license and not liquor license. And I reviewed the video to make sure I was correct. And in that case, I know it's kind of splitting the hair, but that we were talking about two different subjects there, and I just want to make sure it was clear what I was referencing, and it was actually at that time, it was the gaming license. And then again, on this one, no absentee section after roll call, and we had 2 people absent that day.
Clerk Bilski, do you have his change? Is there any more changes to the minutes?
No, but I did want to make mention that it states here, and it says discussion when we're talking about it. It says the mayor asked for the roll call, and okay, wait a second. I know on the last one it stated who was in the absent.
No, when it gets to the, can I speak? When it gets to roll call, yeah, I see that. But if you look at January 10, 2024, and before, it was always spelled out in the roll call who was absent. And that's where there's the inconsistency, that's all. And so on this one, for August 14th, that's what I'm saying. No absentees are listed in that section, and we had 2 people absent that day. And it's not necessary to say who, but we did have 2 absent that day.
Noted throughout everything that's called throughout the
Right, but that's not part of roll call, though. It's always been part of roll call, those who are absent, and that's where I see the fluctuation a little bit. No big deal, though.
So for clarification, in the history of minutes, the clerk never put who was absent. It was just said who was present, and then when the roll call comes, it says who's absent. But when I was clerk, the board at the time had requested that who was absent be stated underneath roll call. So for further minutes, if you could just put who's present, who's not at roll call. All right, any more? Well, there was an amendment to the minutes. Is there a second to his amendment?
I'll second.
Trustee Reinders? Can you?
Well, I have to go back and review the video just to make sure that that's what was said.
So do we table these for that?
I don't think we have to, but
It's up to the board.
if she's requesting it, I don't mind.
It's up to the board. The board can vote.
I don't think we need to.
I
No.
don't think so.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please
Verify it and
call.
make the change, that's all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll for the amendment.
Trustee Fialko.
Aye.
Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Trustee Stylen.
Aye.
Trustee Consolino.
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton.
Aye.
Trustee Mason.
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk, can you call the roll again for the approval of the minutes?
Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Trustee Mason.
Aye.
Trustee Consolino.
No.
Trustee Stylen.
Aye.
Trustee Fialko.
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to September 11th, 2024, Village Board Meeting. Is there a motion?
I'll second.
Trustee Mason, trustee Fialko, any discussion?
No, ma'am.
On this one, one person was missing, not listed as absent in that same roll call.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Mason,
Aye.
trustee Fialko,
Aye.
trustee Reinders,
Aye.
trustee McNaughton,
Aye.
trustee Consolino,
No.
trustee Stylen.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to September 25th, 2024 Village Board meeting. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee McNaughton, trustee Reinders, any further discussion?
No.
Madam Clerk, please
Yes,
call the roll.
no, yes.
Trustee Fialko.
Yes, two things. One, we have two people that were absent that day, neither are listed in that same section for roll call. And then just for the rest of these things here, a lot of times it's referred to as motion to approve in these, and it's actually not a motion. When, like, I make a motion, I'm not making a motion to approve, I'm making the motion to consider.
I'm sorry. Where are you?
No, in several different spots, when we get to things, it says a motion to approve, and really the motion is to consider. That's all I'm saying.
History shows that it's either motion is to approve or motion to deny. That's how it has been.
If you read your own
Yeah, I was the clerk
motions,
for
they
4
say
years.
a motion. It says motion to consider. It never says motion
On the
to
agenda,
approve.
it says consider.
No.
Okay. Any more discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee McNaughton,
Aye.
trustee Reinders,
Aye.
trustee Fialko,
Aye.
trustee Stylen,
Aye.
trustee Consolino.
No.
Trustee Mason.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is public comment. I ask if you have a statement, if you could keep it to 3 minutes, it'd be greatly appreciated. Looks like we have a long agenda tonight. Thank you, Mr. Baber. I'd like to point out Mr. Baber's mustache. We are doing Movember, just so everybody knows. Okay, first up, we have Helena Para. Did you want to speak? Are you on the agenda for tonight? Okay, we could just call you up then if you're okay with that. I'm going to assume that's the same with you, Mark? We're together. You're together, okay. Wayne Felgenhauser, one of our very own veterans.
Sir.
Thank you, Mayor, trustees. I wanted to thank you all for the boxes. It really means a lot to a veteran. And I try and tell you this every year, but I really mean it, okay? It seems, insignificant, but I really appreciate it. So much so. I'm wearing the hat. And there's a little thing on it that says Homer Glen Veteran. I really appreciate that. And I'm also wearing the socks. Red, white, and blue socks. So, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
And thank you, Wayne, for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Roll
right.
those pant legs up.
And then we have Louis, I can't read this last name. Did you want to come up and speak, or were you on the agenda?
We're on the agenda.
We'll call you up then. How about that? All right, moving on. We're going to move to reports and communication from President and all other officers. Joe Baber.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First off, I'd like to commend our staff who raised over $560 to support breast cancer awareness this last month. So I commend our staff on that. Also, as you can see, I do have the stash. In support and recognition of Movember, the purpose is to bring awareness to men's health issues that men experience. So go out and get checked and do some pre-medical testing, guys. Reporting on Behavioral Health and Addiction Recovery Committee. At our last meeting, we had a representative from Trinity Services. She provided information on the living room, a facility located in Orland Park which provides for people experiencing a crisis a safe, calm, and positive environment where they can receive comfort and support. Please check the village website under the Behavioral Health and Addiction Recovery page for links and more information. That's all I have.
I could see her.
Okay, all right, now we'll move on to the village trustees.
Well, do we want to say what's going on?
Yeah, just for the record,
She just said to go get something out of the office. She's gonna come right back.
just for the record, just note that the president had to leave just
For the
temporarily.
record, the president had to leave the dais for 5 minutes to go and retrieve something from her office.
Too bad.
And she's back.
She's
Boom.
back.
I got my computer, sorry. All right, next up is village trustees. Trustee Mason, do you have anything?
I do, Madam Mayor, and thank you. I'm over Public Service and Safety Committee, and recently I toured our Anaco facility. I just want to make mention of a couple things because I don't think people realize our Homer Glen EMA is currently at 13 members, including Director Ron Cuss. He has 10 vehicles under his tutelage and care. Out of those vehicles, they include a John Deere, a Gator, a unified command post, communications vehicle, a supply vehicle, traffic control and light truck, 5 passenger vehicles. Some of these date back to like 1997. He's also had a new member added to his fleet, which is an ambulance by Northwest Homer Fire Department. When I toured the facility, I just want everyone to know, these things look like they just rolled off the shelf. He has them so clean. The facility is clean. It's unbelievable how organized. You go back about a year ago before Ron took the position, there were only 6 volunteers, and now we're up to 12. They have volunteered a total of 1,400 hours, and Ron has worked over 600 hours himself on the EMA and their task. Ron attended many training seminars and classes this year, including CPR instructor, special event, incident management, advanced special event incident management, basic public information officer, traffic incident management and preparation for cyber attack. He's invited myself and I believe others to some of these as well. Ron has secured donations. He has secured $10,000 from Enbridge Safety Communities. It was a grant. He's received $5,000 from Pembia grant for tri-band radios. He started the department with, I believe, 6, and he currently has 34 radios that he was able to secure through donations through our sheriff's department. When he started as EMA director, like I said, he had 6. There were also 2 printers that have been donated lately, several tablets or computers, and F-350, as I mentioned, was donated, which was part of that ambulance. And by the way, I called him at, I think, 6 or 7 p.m. one night during a work week, and he answered because he was in the shop taking the old decals off. I just really want to commend his efforts, the tablets, the computers. He created a tablet and a computer lab, which the members work together on different projects and trainings. He's got a whole room dedicated to training his staff, the volunteers. He set up a computer room right at that facility. EMA events to date in 2023, and through 2024, I think they had something like 342 hours assisting other communities, 650 hours at village events. Some of his accomplishments were this year, when the services were down for water, they passed out over 12 pallets of bottled water and distributed them. His emergency operations plan, we all know that he redid that at the beginning of the year, and he did that while he was on vacation. Other things, he's done a lot of improvements, and I just can't say thank you enough. The village of Homer Glen is now considered a storm-ready community, and actually I asked him for the designation, and if it's not in his file, Joe, I would like it to go there. It's from the United States Department of Commerce, and it says that we are now a storm-ready village and community. I want to just sincerely thank Mr. Cuss for his outstanding service to our community and all the efforts and being proactive and diligent. On a side note, I would also like to take the time to thank our entire village staff and everyone working so hard this year on so many different projects. Believe me, we've been inundated, and staff has done so much to stay in tune with everything that's going on. In fact, so much that it could make one's head spin. This, of course, is under our own very own Mr. Joe Baber, our village manager, and all his efforts. In fact, our legal team, I want to thank you. I've went through the legal bills, and my head spins. My head spins with everything that goes on. You guys have done an outstanding job, as well as our sheriff's office under the guidance of Lieutenant Pete Piazza. So thank you.
Trustee McNaughton?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Trustee Fialko?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. One, I'd like to point out with the Admin and Finance Committee, we didn't have a meeting last month, or this month, in the beginning of the month. The Admin and Finance Committee, just so everybody knows, under our Treasurer's Report of Cash and Investments, we now have $48,586,200 in the coffer. I think that's always important to say. Again, when I went to IML and I talked to other villages, no other villages are in the good financial shape that we are presently. The other thing I'd like to say is my sympathy goes out to Trinity Balin Weir in the loss of that 2-year-old in our community on the south side off of Hadley Road. This took place, I don't know how many people got to see that on the patch, but my sympathy goes out to that family and the loss of that child. The other thing is we have an electoral board was started on Friday of last week. Just so everybody knows, if you're willing or want to attend it, the next meeting that we're going to reconvene is on Tuesday, November 26th at 1 p.m. And that has to do with the objections of 15 candidates that were filed. So if you're interested, that's the date. It's on Tuesday, November 26th at 1 p.m. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Trustee Consolino?
I just wanted to extend my deepest gratitude and a happy belated Veterans Day to all of our veterans. May God bless you all, every day, all day. I'd also like to say thank you to our board, our staff, and our residents for going out of their way to honor our veterans this week and throughout the year. We truly have a great community who cares and acknowledges our well-deserving veterans. Reporting for Environment Committee, I'm going to keep it short because I think we're going to have a very lengthy meeting. But our EC committee is currently reviewing and looking at amending our tree preservation code. And this is kind of over the whole BP pipeline thing right now. So we'll be reviewing the review probably for the next couple months. It's a pretty stealthy code. And we'd like to try and submit it back to the board, hopefully by February or March. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you. Trustee Reinders?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Trustee Fialko, for your report on the Admin and Finance Committee. I appreciate that. Just reporting for the Parks and Recreation Committee, this past meeting, we had the opportunity to have a Zoom meeting with Tamara Hall, who is our grant writer for the Village of Homer Glen. She gave us a lot of good ideas on how to move forward. I don't know if all of you are aware, but myself and Sue Stylen are forming a foundation that we will use for the village, with the village, to be able to retrieve funds for various projects throughout the village. And I think I talked about this at the last meeting for our parks and our trails and things like that. But this meeting really gave us, an education. There's a lot of things that's going to be required of the village, and I think our staff, because our staff is diligently working on all of the questions that have to be answered in order for us to be able to move forward with working with different foundations. So I'm really appreciative of that. Also, the other thing I wanted to say is this was the first time I ever attended the Veterans event at Konau's. I've always donated. I've always made it a point because they're near and dear to my heart. I have very many family members that are veterans. But it was overwhelming to see the joy in the veterans and their families, how appreciative they were for this event. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the mayor and say thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for me.
Thank you. Trustee Stylen?
Thank you. Reporting for the Community Development Committee, we will be meeting tomorrow, and on our agenda is the events calendar for 2025. So we're still, if anyone has an idea or suggestion, please relay that to our events department. And other than that, we've had a busy fall with all of the events and Veterans Day activities, and now we're moving into the holiday season, and we are also going to be working on the Homer for the holidays with the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Village Clerk, please tell me you're going to report on the stallions.
I wasn't, but I can.
If you could, I forgot in the recognition.
The Homer Stallions will be playing on Saturday. Their varsity team made it to the Super Bowl, which is, like the Super Bowl for youth, for River Valley. And that's going to be taking place, their game's at 4 o'clock, Thursday at Busey Bank Stadium in Joliet. I don't know what the address is off the top of my head, but yes.
Thank you. Sorry for throwing you off on that.
No problem.
Is that it?
Other
That's
than
your
that,
report?
yes, that's it.
Okay. Village Attorney?
Yes, just briefly, following what Trustee Consolino shared, just, certainly extending all of our gratitude to the selfless service of all of our veterans. Since the foundation, the establishment of our country and, the Illinois Constitution, and certainly the establishment of the Village of Homer, Glen, all government exists to promote the health, safety, and welfare of its citizens, of the residents. And I want to read from you just a little section of a document that I think sometimes we forget about, and just a little excerpt from it. And it goes, and that as a free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, we, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. That's the ending of the Declaration of Independence. In that last section where it says we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor, the folks that do that every day are our veterans. And I just wanted to thank them again, consistent with the formation of our government and the wonderful service that they do for all of us. Thank you very, very much. And what brings it to the head today is that my father flew in, who is an who's an Army veteran, and it means a lot to us. It means a lot to me to see him, to have seen him here, and his service and the service of all of you. As far as my report, we have, there is, I'm sorry.
We got to clap for that.
Is your dad here?
No, he's not. Yeah, he flew back from Florida. It was amazing. He had come to, the children invited him, my children invited him to a veterans event at their school. And I looked back at when I was a young fella, my kid's age, and we didn't have veterans events. It was only to the late 1980s historically that we saw the reverence today that are so deserved to all of our veterans. Late 1980s into some movies were put out that really put veterans in a wonderful light. We didn't have veterans coming and speaking. We didn't have the children giving their thank yous to the veterans. So you're not forgotten. On behalf of certainly myself, thank you very much for your service. As far as our other report, I don't have anything further to add. I'll be talking in an executive session on the Lockport issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said, Mike.
Well said. Public safety officials? You got nothing back there? All right, next is me. I got a few things. I forgot to thank the Goodings Grove School as well for coloring cards for our veterans as well. I wanted to update you guys on the mayor of the day. We have a little resident named Addie. She is terminally ill with cancer. I want to thank Gia for putting together the Mayor of the Day. We're going to take her to her favorite few places. She likes haunted trails in Joliet. And then we're going to go to Fuji's restaurant, which is also my favorite, so it's a win for me as well. And then the following day, she is going to do mayor things. Like I said before, go to Starbucks, get to the village, run around, sign some checks, do a few things, and then she's going to help us with roll call, call some motions, and then she'll be on her way. That was her request to be the Mayor of the Day, so I'm happy that you guys are all going to allow this. We haven't picked the date yet for that. We're hoping in December, hoping that she's well enough to be here. Do we have a meeting, the second meeting in December, or did we cancel that? That is canceled. Just a reminder to all the residents that we don't have a second meeting in November due to Thanksgiving. Reminder, the flags that you see around Heritage Circle, they will be coming down, or they did come down. They came down today. We're putting up our Christmas decorations. That doesn't mean they come down forever. They will go back up around Memorial Day. And then for one more year, those same flags will fly, or banners will fly, and then they will be retired with the veteran. Another reminder I forgot to say is the Ability Awareness meets every first Tuesday of every month. Also, if you know a veteran who did not receive a box, please email the village and let them know, because we want to make sure that we reach every single every single veteran in our village. A reminder that November 19th is the day that we lost our employee Jacqueline Huff. So on November 19th, man, I thought I'd get through that. We're going to close the office early. Me and Mr. Baber are arguing if it's 3 or 3:30, but we're going to have a memory ceremony by Jackie's Tree at 3:30. Fialco, thank you for pointing out that we are fiscally responsible, in good financial shape, because as many have called me recently to state that we're doing a poor job keeping our finances in order, but I'm thankful that you pointed that out. Another thing that the village had done over the last few weeks was we delivered welcome bags to a lot of new residents that we have. So again, thank you, Gia, for putting that together, and all the staff that ran around and helped put those bags out there. I got really good feedback when I went and delivered the bags, so I thought it was really cool. A couple of things, Trustee Fialco mentioned the electoral board. Trustee Fialco did step down from that board. I did stay on the board along with Trustee Sue Styland and our clerk Candace Bilski. The question was raised if I should have stepped down from the board myself. Some are saying that it's because the mayor wants power. I want to make sure that it's very clear, mayors do not have power. Mayors have responsibilities. And when I took my oath as mayor, I took my responsibilities very seriously. And I'm not going to relinquish my responsibilities because others don't understand theirs. So I will remain on the board, and I will act fairly at the hearing on the 26th, I believe it is, at 1 o'clock. The other thing I wanted to point out is if you're a business owner with a liquor or gaming license, I would like you to contact the village. 4 businesses have contacted me over the last week or so. There's a rumor going around about how the mayor is going to charge into their business and demand to open their finances and open their books. That is completely false. I would never do that. I never planned to do that, and that was never said. So put that rumor to bed. All right, moving on, we're going to go to consent agenda. K2, consider for approval the treasurer's report of cash and investments for the period ending August 31st, 2024 in the amount of $48,586,200.12. Is there a motion?
Make that motion.
Trustee Fialco?
I'll second.
Trustee Reinders. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fialco?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Styland?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino?
No.
Trustee McNaughton?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, now we are moving on to, I believe it was, I gotta move.
It was K1, I believe. We were going to put it.
No, removed. Trustee Consolino, what did you say, 6 to 7?
K1 is now L1A.
The accounts payable.
Oh, K1.
K1
You're
is
right.
1A.
All right. L1A, consider for approval the accounts payable for the period of October 25th, 2024 through November 14th, 2024 in the amount of $284,954.79.
So
Make
moved.
that motion.
Trustee Mason and Trustee Reinders. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Nope.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
No, we do.
Why did you move it?
Yeah, we didn't get this way.
Page
Oh,
12.
I just said any discussion, nobody said anything, so. Do you have any
Didn't
discussion?
want to overspeak them. So yes, on page 12, and I addressed this with the village manager today, I am extremely uncomfortable after a complaint that was given that ended up being true last year in regards to Steve Fiscal. There's a payment of $6,850. Does anybody else have anything they want to say about this?
I would just like an explanation of what, it was fine to see that, I guess. It was a little, to me, it was a little, I didn't expect that, and especially that kind of money. And we never saw a contract, we never saw anything to back up what was done for that kind of money. It didn't go out to bid, right? So I'm just wondering if we can hear from whoever gave the approval, what was actually done for the money.
Manager Baber?
Yes, so Mr. Fiscal had done the decorations and the lighting for Spooky Park previously last year, with some comments being made about the process. This year, we did go out for bids. We went out for 3 bids. Mr. Fiscal's price was considerably less than the other bids that we had gotten from other companies. Also, we made sure that Mr. Fiscal had submitted his 1099 form for tax purposes and that he was fully insured. So we felt that given the price that he quoted, the effort that he put into it last year, and the residents who were asking for Spooky Park to be done, they were inquiring as to why it wasn't done sooner. We were working on the process with Mr. Fiscal to make sure that he had all his ducks in a row and the process was done properly.
Okay, well, yeah, that kind of answers the question, I guess, but it wasn't brought to this board as far as a request for proposal, like we do on most things that'll be over $5,000. I guess that's why it stood out. That's not a pattern we've done before or gone in, so that was why it stood out, I think. But if he did the work, you're saying he did the work for it, he decorated the park for Halloween?
Yes, sir.
Put up some lights, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And the decoration.
Now, did we pay for the lights, or did he pay for the lights?
Those were supplied by Mr. Fiscal. That was his.
Okay.
They were his lights. His lights,
His
his
light,
decorations.
So that included him coming back and taking them down then, right?
Correct.
And taking them home?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Trustee McNaughton, okay, hold on, you already got a chance. Trustee McNaughton, do you have anything?
No, ma'am.
Trustee Mason?
No, ma'am.
Trustee Stylen?
No, just that I really appreciate the effort that we were able to get him back.
Trustee Reinders?
I basically talked to the events coordinator, all of the coordinators in the department, and I actually made sure that if we were going to do this with Spooky Park, that we crossed all of our T's and dotted all of our I's, and everything was done. And we were very appreciative because we had so many calls from so many people wondering when was Spooky Park going to come. So, and he did a great job last year. I know that there's been some contention amongst some of the trustees, but I mean, he did a great job for us, so I didn't see any reason why we couldn't bring him back.
Trustee Cancelino?
Yeah, my final question is, why is the amount over double than what it was last season?
Joe, you can answer that.
I would have to look into that. I can get you that answer. I
Yes.
don't have that answer at this time.
Trustee Fielko?
Yeah, and just to answer Trustee Reinders, there was no contention about other trustees. There was something that took place when he was on the planning commission that he got kicked off. It was his own problem, and I didn't dig into it. So when you say there was contention,
He did
there
not
wasn't
get kicked
really-
off.
Point of order. Well,
Floor, right?
I just said point of order.
Okay, so there was no contention about the trustees, and then he was quietly removed from there. And so I have no axe to grind with the man at all. It was what took place that led to his dismissal from the planning commission. I had nothing to do with that. But in the meantime, when this comes up, $6,800, and it's the guy that got kicked off the planning commission, and now all of a sudden somehow, and you say you did all your homework, you did everything but get the RFP and put it out to bid. I didn't see any bid come to this board, and I got scrutinized for hiring bands for Homerfest and all kinds of other things, and whittling it down to pennies. when I was trying to get something done. But here, we got something for $6,800 that was just put through and now just approve it. And if we're gonna be consistent, then those kinds of things need to be put out for bid, like everybody on this board expects to be done. That's all. I have no axe to grind with him, though.
Trustee McNaughton?
No, ma'am.
Trustee Mason?
Yeah, I think when you think about cost, if I bought a car this year versus 3 years ago, it goes up. I mean, inflation is through the roof lately. I don't know as far as how much, if that's 20% or 50%, Joe, but of course, everything's gone up. It's gone through the roof. We can only hope it gets back to normal.
Apologize, Trustee Mason.
It's okay.
Did you have a question?
I'm done.
Okay, Trustee Stylen?
No, I'm just really sorry that this is all being said the way it is. This individual is a very good person and has been unfairly attacked. And I'm embarrassed for our village that this has happened. The equipment for Spooky Park, he stores it all, brings it back, the lighting, everything. We did due diligence to try and get that done. And it's just really sad that this is happening. Thank you.
Trustee Reinders?
First of all, Steve Fiskow was not let go. He resigned because he was belittled, berated, bullied on social media. He resigned because he said he did not want to put the village through that. Did he do a good job? Yes, he did. And I'm sorry. That's why I thought it was great to have him come back.
Okay, and my sentiments are, I concur with Trustee Reinders. He was not kicked off Planning Commission. He did resign respectfully. He wanted the bullying to end and didn't want to be harassed anymore. So unfortunately, that did happen, and he did resign. From what I understand, and the attorney can correct me or not, well, first, Mr. Baber, did we have more than one quote for this?
We did.
How many quotes did we have?
I believe there's 2 or 3. I would have to get that information. I'm more than happy to supply that to the entire board within the next couple of days.
And those bids were substantially higher.
They were.
And Attorney Pasquinelli, can you, if it's under $10,000, do Mr. Baber and I have the right to sign off on such a matter?
Yes, Chapter 50-4 of the purchasing ordinance, which is found in the village code, does authorize the co-signatures of both the village manager and the village president, and that's in that instance.
So this was a check that was brought to me. I had seen it. I had brought it to the village manager's attention to say, hey, it's over $5,000. We both need to sign off on it, and which we did. So again, like Trustee Stylen said, I'm embarrassed. I feel sorry for Mr. Fiskow that once again, he checked all the boxes and we're still sitting here doing the same exact thing. Well, now that we beat this to death, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye?
Trustee Consolino?
No.
Trustee McNaughton?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on, which one are we moving to?
7 and 8.
7 and 8. All right, we're going to move to L7, which is 2 parts. Consider for the approval the creation of and appointments to the Pipeline Subcommittee. The first motion is A. Is there a motion to create a Pipeline Subcommittee, a subcommittee of the Environment Committee?
So moved.
Trustee Mason.
I'll second it.
Trustee Fialko. Trustee Mason, do you have any discussion?
As I had mentioned at a prior village board meeting, myself, our village engineer, Trustee Stylen, we've walked that property, and I think the outpour from the community is that they would love to see a subcommittee to make sure that we're doing our due diligence and looking out for the people of our community.
And thank you for all your hard work on that, by the way. Trustee Fialko?
Yes, 2 meetings ago, this was my idea that I brought up to come up with the task force or a subcommittee. I know this is under 10-7 in Article 3, Part 3 of our village code, but I don't know how this is the first time this is really happening since I've been here, and how we're either dividing it up to be a task force or a subcommittee. To me, a subcommittee is the better way. And I know we've got an SOP 1 that we want to amend to include it, but that is next. I think this is a great idea. I think having an additional team and more hands-on for this to get to the bottom of things will help, not only help staff and help Brent Westcott and our Environment Committee. I think this is a great thing to do.
Any other discussion?
Yes.
Trustee Consolino?
No, I have no problem with the subcommittee, as I will be co-chairing it, but we did create a subcommittee before that fell by the wayside when our new board members sat on the board. That was under public safety. And so my question on this is this going to be a temporary or a permanent thing? Yeah, there was one. Community Safeguard Subcommittee.
I didn't speak.
And so I want to know, is this going to be a temporary situation, and are we going to include all pipelines? I think it's smart if we include all pipelines in this subcommittee. And then I would also like to request that maybe this not meet every month. I don't see a need for that, but maybe every several months. Maybe we could do quarterly with this and put it in conjunction with the Environment Committee. So those are my suggestions.
Trustee Reinders?
I was kind of against this in the beginning because I thought that what do we need another committee for? But after discussing it with Trustee Stylen, I didn't realize how much pipeline we have just within the village. So I agree. I think that that'd be great because we definitely need to keep an eye on all of it.
Trustee McNaughton?
No, listen, there's a lot going on around the pipelines, a lot of conversations over various board meetings. It's a great idea. I give it my full support.
Trustee Stylen?
Yes, I don't know if this would be a permanent committee or if, I had questioned whether it should be a task force or a committee, but right now it needs attention. So I can't say how often it would meet. It might meet more frequently right now and then as problems arise. But it isn't just about one issue that's happening right now. It's also to be proactive in making sure that this doesn't happen throughout the village, that we can preserve as many trees as we can. Thank you.
My sentiments are, well, it looks like letter B, both Trustee Consolino and Trustee Stylen will be the co-chairs, so both of you that have that question can make the rules, dates, times, and how often you meet, and if it falls to the wayside or not. Trustee Baber, Village Manager Baber, do you know if the sub-task force that Trustee Consolino had pointed out, that, what was it called, Safeguard Committee? Who was the chair of that committee?
I was.
And it fell apart? It went to the wayside and you were the chairman?
Once you guys became elected, it didn't get reapproved with the others.
Okay. Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on that.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton?
Aye.
Motion carries. Section B is there a motion to approve the mayor's appointment to the Pipeline Subcommittee, whose members will be co-chairs Trustee Consolino and Trustee Stylen, resident members Mike McGee, Dave Buckley, and Margaret Sabro, to address matters and concerns related to the tree clearing pipeline maintenance?
So moved.
Trustee Consolino and Trustee Mason. Any further discussion?
I think some of our residents...
Trustee Mason, hold on one second. Trustee Consolino.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. The only thing that I wanted to add on here is we didn't put, and just realizing it on the other, didn't we agree that Brett Westcott was going to be the staff liaison on this?
Yeah, I think we did.
Okay, so we should have this on one of these, correct?
Well, we don't.
I don't think
Or
we
no?
need to have him since he doesn't have to be
Written on.
appointed
Okay.
because he's a staff liaison.
Okay.
Is that it? Trustee Mason?
No, I was just going to say, and I apologize, Trustee Consolino. I was just going to say that I'm really glad to see both Sue and yourself on it. Sue's definitely a naturalist and cares about our environment. And I also appreciate the residents, Mike McGee, Dave Buckley, and Margaret Sabo for stepping up. I think that Dave Buckley brings a wealth of knowledge to our own village engineer, Mr. Westcott. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I would like to say
Trustee
the same
Fialko?
thing. I think Brett Westcott and Dave Buckley, both being engineers, and with the rest of the team that we've got here, as Trustee Mason mentioned, I think is going to do a great job. And that's it.
Anybody else have anything? Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Consolino.
Aye.
Trustee Mason.
Aye.
Trustee Stylen.
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton.
Aye.
Trustee Fialko.
Aye.
Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 8, consider for approval an amendment to Standard Operating Procedure Number 001 to include the addition of a pipeline subcommittee, which is subcommittee of the Environment Committee. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Reinders
I'll second.
and Trustee McNaughton. Trustee Reinders, do you have any discussion? Trustee McNaughton?
No, ma'am.
Trustee Consolino?
No.
Trustee Stylen?
No.
Trustee Mason?
Oh, ma'am.
Trustee Fialko?
Yes, I just wonder, do we really need to change SOP 1 and put that on staff? If it's going to be temporary, or it's going to be all the time, we didn't really discuss that at length, but is it necessary to change SOP 1 to include that if it's just going to be temporary?
Well, Trustee Fialko, since it's a question directed to me, I would assume that it would need to be, since the statement was just made that a previous committee fell to the wayside because miraculously it fell off the committee list somehow, which I wasn't even aware of. And if it's not on there, I don't want something to fall to the wayside again.
All right.
And now, if somebody would like to bring back the committee because it fell to the wayside, now would be the perfect time to change that SOP 1 now to bring it back and be the chair again. Would you like to do that? No, I'm not in charge of public safety. Okay. All right. Any more discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton.
Aye.
Trustee Fialko.
Aye.
Trustee Consolino.
Aye.
Trustee Stylen.
Aye.
Who did I forget?
Aye.
Trustee Mason, sorry.
All right, now going back to L1. Consider for approval an ordinance granting a variance to reduce the required north side yard setback from 20 feet to 10 feet for certain real property located in the R2 Single Family Residential District at 16464 South Spaniel Lake Court, Lot 11, Homer Glen, Illinois, HD 2418-V. Is there a motion?
I'll make
Make
that
that
motion.
motion.
Trustee Reinders and then Trustee Fialko. Is the petitioner here? Do you want to come up to the podium in case they have any questions? All right, Trustee Reinders.
I don't really have any objection to this. I actually did go out there and take a look at where you're actually going to be building. The lots, does your lot extend actually right into the lake?
Yeah.
Yes, the
Yeah,
lots
so it
go from the middle of the road into the lake.
Right, okay, so I understand the setback, and I also, I was reading the Plan Commission, some of their conditions, and one of the conditions was that Commissioner Broderick said that on the north side, he would like you to put some windows there
Yes.
as a garage.
On the garage.
Because you
yes.
were going to be so close to the building, to
Yes,
the
and
next
we will
building.
do that. Yeah,
Okay.
that can be
Okay.
part of the conditions. or
Yeah, that's a difficult lot to build on.
And I'd just like to say, it's only for the 20-foot approximately of the three-car garage that there's
Yeah.
that easement, and it butts up to the garage on the other home there as well.
Yeah, when I first went out there, I'm like, wait a minute, his house is going to be in the lake. It's just because I see how close the rest of the houses are to the lake there.
Yes, they go right up to the conservation easement along the
Yeah,
whole.
right out to the easement,
yes.
yeah. Well, good luck, and I have no objection.
Thank you.
Mine looks different than yours. Just to follow up on Trustee Reinder's statement, I believe it's already written in here.
Yeah,
That
the
request.
conditions,
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
condition, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, who was next? Trustee Mason? Fialko? Fialko.
Yes, I'd just like to point out that the Planning Commission recommended the approval 6-0. And there was only one resident who was speaking about the variance, and it didn't seem like the complaint was that he wanted stopped any which way. So I'm in support of it. Thank you.
Trustee McNaughton?
Looks like a beautiful home. I did note also that there were 8 other similar variances granted. It looks good to me. Thank you.
Trustee Mason?
I've actually talked with several different trustees today, including Mr. McNaughton, Steinlen, and Reinders. Difficult situation being the conservation area. So I think absolutely, I think the house looks beautiful. It's not a side swimming pool or something onto that order, so you kind of need the room to build or you'll be in the water. So you absolutely have my support.
Trustee Stylen?
Yes, this is a unique subdivision with the lots each lot seems to have a little bit of an issue, and I expect that we'll probably have some more variances as it continues to get built. But when it's all finished, I think it's going to be charming and nice.
No, it's a great little subdivision, and I'll be back probably for Lot 1 I just purchased, so.
So hidden back there.
Trustee Consolino?
You know, I discussed with staff because I had questions about the one complainant that came to the planning commission meeting and came to this meeting, but it sounds like that neighbor that was complaining from the other side of the lake said that he already had like 4 different variances, that, so it would have, he's received his variances. My only concern was the condition about the windows. I thought maybe for privacy, but if you're okay with that, and it sounds like you are, then okay.
Yes.
I'm okay with this too. Okay.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Trustee Fialko.
Aye.
Trustee Stylen.
Aye.
Trustee Consolino.
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton.
Aye.
Trustee Mason.
Motion carries. Congrats.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
Congratulations.
L2, consider for approval an ordinance granting a variance to increase the maximum aggregate square footage of accessory structures from the allowed 1,200 square feet to 1,570 square feet. And 2, a variance to increase the maximum height of the accessory structure from the permitted 15 to 17 feet. And 3, a variance to permit siding on 100% of the exterior of the accessory structure in lieu of the required 3 feet of masonry for certain real property located in the R2 Single Family Resident District at 14433 Dixon Lane, Homer Glen, Illinois, HG 2419-V. Hi, you're up there quick.
Yes.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Trustee McNaughton, is there a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Mason. Trustee McNaughton?
Yeah, it looks like an increase of 370 feet to the max accessory structure, and the Planning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend the approval. Looks good. Thank you.
Trustee Mason?
No, I'm very familiar with the area, not far from my own house. As Mr. McNaughton had just mentioned, yes, the Planning Commission voted on it. I think it'll be beautiful, and I have no issues with it.
Trustee Stylen?
Yes, I don't have any issues with the variance because, and I mean, I think that they're all warranted, but I just wanted to express my displeasure about not getting a building permit ahead of time. And I really, you know, if it had been anything else, I probably wouldn't have approved it. Thank you.
Trustee Reinders?
I just have one question. Why did you guys start to build this without a permit?
Just crappy advice from friends who live in the area, honestly. It's a mistake we won't make again.
I was a little shocked. I was like, how did they get the whole barn up without a permit? But no, I have no objection. I have no objection. Thank you.
Trustee Fialko?
No, I think everything's been said that had to be said so far for me. Thank you.
Trustee Consolino?
No, I'm a stickler on the fact that it was built without the permits, and that the fact the work being performed needed permits and was finished before they could reach you about that. And this was just in May. So even though, you know, Planning Commission said that 6-0, the issue wasn't with the variance. My issue is with not doing it properly. Because what we do is we set up a dangerous precedence by permitting that. So that's saying to the next guy, oh yeah, you could get away with building it and we'll give you your variance afterwards. So, you know, it's not that we wouldn't have permitted you to do this. Or that I wouldn't have permitted you to do it. It's just you didn't do it the right way. And based on our similar cases, and this is why it's given to us, is we're given similar cases for work without a permit, we're given similar variances granted that basically did what they were supposed to do. And so when you look at similar cases without a permit, basically it got kicked back or it got denied. So that's what I'm going to stick to, because we've done that before, and I'd rather stick with not starting a new precedence.
Is there any objectors in the room? Anybody that's against this from that subdivision? That's in Saddlebrook, right?
We're on Dixon Lane. I think it used to be called Rolling Meadows Farms.
It's not Saddlebrook.
Oh, it's not Saddlebrook? Oh.
No.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, may I ask a question?
Yes.
I had forgotten some of the key elements of that, and Trustee Stylen and I had talked, and Trustee Consolino has brought it up. Yes, I believe with the Plan Commission, I still know the area, and I don't have an issue with it. But as Trustee Consolino states, have you ever received the permit at this point, or put in for a permit, or paid for a
Yes,
permit?
we paid for the permit and for the variance. And
so
so we're
you-
in the
all right.
process of, trying to fix what we did wrong.
We really don't want to set a precedence on doing the work, and then later on, because it really should go the other way around.
I'm
We have to
going to
follow our
call point of
procedures.
order real fast, only
Yes,
because I was
ma'am.
just politely reminded by the attorney that we're not allowed to ask questions.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Ask me the questions, even though she could still hear you. Anybody else have anything else to add? Personally, I think it fits in with the area. I mean, that's my personal opinion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee McNaughton.
Aye.
Trustee Mason.
Aye.
Trustee Fialko.
Pass.
Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Trustee Consolino.
Yes.
Trustee Stylen.
Aye.
Trustee Fialko.
Aye.
Trustee Consolino.
Abstain.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Just pull a permit next time.
I will never do that again.
All right, always call. We're always happy to answer questions. All right, congrats. All right, number 3. Consider for approval an ordinance granting a special use permit for an automobile repair and service, tire sales and service only for certain real property located in the C3 General Business District at 15757 Anaco Drive, Unit 1 and 2, Homer Glen, Illinois, HD 2420SP. Is there a motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Fialko, Trustee Reinders. Trustee Fialko, you have the floor.
The planning commission, again, voted 6 unanimously on this one. There was one public comment in support of, so I support this. Thank you.
Trustee Reinders?
I have no objection, but I just would like to note for the record that there was a lot of confusion in the verbiage, whether or not this was going to be repair, whether it was going to be an automotive body. So they did clarify that at the plan commission level, so it's just going to be tire sales and service only for our residents that live in that area. So there's not going to be a lot of noise there, and they will not be working on Saturday and Sunday.
Thank you for pointing that out. Trustee Consolino?
No, there's been no complaints previously. They're in compliance with the landscape code. I have no problems.
Trustee McNaughton?
No, ma'am.
Trustee Mason?
There was one resident that even brought it up, and that was from the Meadowview subdivision, and they did not have an issue, and I was actually at Anaco today, and it's all these types of businesses back in there.
Trustee Stylen?
No, I'm just fine with this.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fialko.
Aye.
Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Trustee Stylen.
Aye.
Trustee Consolino.
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton.
Aye.
Trustee Mason.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to number 4. Just wanted to point out that you all received an updated agenda on the white sheet of paper because there was an error on the previous yellow agenda, so you received a white copy. I'm going to read it as the yellow agenda states. If you'd like to make the, oh no, just read it as the white? I got 2 motion. Okay, then that's this one. Okay. Consider for approval an ordinance granting a parking adjustment for the reduction of 4 required parking spaces from 13 spaces to 9 spaces with the Crystal Creek Business Condos for certain real property located in the C2 Local Business Zoning District at 15915 South Crystal Creek Drive, Unit H, Homer Glen, Illinois, HG 2424P. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Mason.
I'll second it.
Trustee Fialko. No. Trustee Mason.
Yes, I looked at this, and we've done something similar to for other businesses. Even though it says medical and holistic type work that's being done there, it's more of an office area. It's going from 13 to 9 spaces. It's not etched in stone that this business moves out, another one moves in. It has to come back in front of us anyway, so I have no issues with it.
Trustee Fialko?
The difference on this one, we did do one recently, and the thing is, that was one business owner in a strip mall that it affected all the businesses in that strip mall. This is an individual business, and they own that property separately. So really what I'd like to reserve the time for is to hear Christopher maybe give us an explanation in the difference between the two if we could, and why we allowed it for the other one being the whole strip mall, but this being an individual one, if he knows, because this didn't go to any other committee, if he knows of anything that would I don't know, affect what we're trying to do here? Being that we did one and now we have this other one, but the circumstances are just a little bit different.
I'm going to go through the whole board and then we'll...
Thank you.
Trustee Consolino?
No, I understand it didn't have to go before Planning Commission. I kind of wish it had. I do understand that what they're saying, you know, right now the practice is 99% mobile-based. You know, currently they have 2 full-time staffers, yada, yada. These factors create a very low actual parking demand. As long as this doesn't change, I can live with this. But like I said, if it changes, different owners, I would prefer to see a business in there. I think you have a great business. As long as it sticks within those guidelines, then that's something that I can live with us on this board.
Trustee McNaughton?
Yeah, I know we've had similar instances like this in the past, and, you know, if you look at per the code, the medical offices require 6 parking spaces per 1,000 square feet. I think this fits the bill for approval with the variance. I'm happy with it. Thank you.
Trustee Stylen?
Yes, and just as Trustee Mason said, it is really more of an office, administrative office, than it is a actual medical practice office. And the photos that we're taking that were included in our packet were at different times, and that parking lot never appeared to have any issues. So I don't have any issues with it.
Correct.
Trustee Reinders?
I have no objection either. You know, as long as the office stays basically where there are no patients, where they're not going to be seeing any patients, where they would attract additional parking, then I have no objection.
Would you like to address Trustee Fialko's statement?
Excuse me. Yes, so as Trustee Fialko pointed out, it was the LFI Plaza that Melissa King brought before, I guess, the board earlier this year for Subway, for the restaurant that was under one ownership. These are several condos that are individually owned. And so that was looked at for the LFI Plaza with Subway. That was all looked holistically. And they dropped the parking requirement from, I guess it was, 100 spaces required to maybe 80 that were on site. I discussed this with the attorney a little bit, and it seemed to be more appropriate just to drop or just to grant relief for that one condo space, and in the condition that it ever moved out, then it would go away. Just kind of one thing that I wanted to add is that if this was office to office, this wouldn't be like a parking adjustment. This is office to medical office, which requires slightly more parking per code. The parking lot is already deficient by, I had it written down here by, so right now there's 46 existing spaces on the site. Right now, 67 spaces are required without unit H even being filled, so it's already deficient by 21 spaces. With this, with the new mobile medical, although now that it is medical, it would require, the entire plaza would require 80 parking spaces, and again, there's 46 spaces available, so now the 34 spaces deficient. So this is just kind of, I guess, enforcing the zoning ordinance, really. I think Melissa set the precedent for, we'll have to start doing the parking analyses for these, and this is just, it's deficient, and this would remedy it for this spot. And, yep, I'm sorry.
No, continue on.
Yeah, I'm sorry, just the last thing that I'd like to mention is that I guess, I've seen this in a lot of other communities, that the parking requirements seem to be very restrictive, almost too much so, that if this parking lot is never more than half full, and we have all the evidence to prove that, maybe we should take a look at the parking requirements for all uses to try to, bring them to something that's more reasonable. I'd be more than happy to look into that. I actually just did it for Frankfurt for all uses, and we could do it again.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Motion carries. Congrats.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Making everybody happy tonight. Look at us. Number 5, consider for approval the mayor's appointment of Felicia David to the Ability Awareness Committee. Is there a motion?
I'll make the
moved.
motion.
Trustee Reinders, Trustee Mason. Any discussion?
No.
Trustee Mason?
I trust your judgment because this is your baby.
Anybody else?
Nothing from me.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton?
Aye.
Motion carries. We're going to move on to L6. I don't believe I had L6 in my packet. Yeah, well, this is the, okay. Yes, so I'm going to read it as the agenda, the yellow agenda states, because that is what your
Could I have a copy of that too?
You have one.
That's got the addition of the new name in there, right?
You have one. We've put one on everyone's
don't
dais.
have it.
dais.
White one has the addition. It's just one.
The white one has the addition, and the
white
yellow
agenda.
is the way it's read.
All right, I'm going to read it as it's written on the yellow agenda. Consider for approval, consider the approval of the mayor's appointment of Jennifer Vittori to Homer Festival Committee. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Reinders.
Second.
Trustee McMason, no, I'm just kidding. Trustee
You got it.
McNaughton? Okay.
McMason.
Trustee Reinders.
You know what, the Parks Department is an integral part of Homerfest. They work diligently every day, weeks prior to, in preparation for Homerfest, so I think Jennifer's going to be an asset to the committee.
Thank you. Trustee Mason, or McNaughton?
Sure. Who doesn't love a little Jen Vittori? She's an asset to the village, hardworking. I feel like she's been doing a lot of work behind the scenes as it is. So full support. Thank you.
Trustee Mason?
Absolutely, I welcome it. I think she does a great job. She does backflips for the community. And actually, when I was giving out and saying kudos to everybody, especially Mr. Cuss, doing their job and the village staff, I can do the exact same thing with Jen if she continues to do the good work that she does.
Trustee Steilen?
Yes, at first I had a little difficulty with this, thinking of more staff members as members of a committee, but this is a unique committee in that it is really a planning committee for an event versus a committee that's reviewing ordinances and policies for the village, where I think residency would be more important. So I'm in full support.
Trustee Fialko? Got to go around.
No, I'm in support of it.
Trustee
Jennifer has helped out with the Fest Committee. I've worked with her many fests and many days, and she does a great job.
Trustee Consolino?
No, Jennifer's an excellent asset to us, so yes.
Trustee Reinders?
Mayor, I would like to make a motion to amend this to include Ron Cuss.
Is there a second to include Ron Cuss?
I'll make that second.
Trustee McNaughton. Well, it's amendment, so. McNaughton. Oh, gosh, you gotta separate you two. So there was an amendment to add Ron Cuss. McNaughton, you second it?
Yes.
Is there any discussion on the amendment? Trustee Reinders?
No.
Trustee McNaughton?
No, ma'am.
Trustee Mason?
No, ma'am.
Trustee Steilen?
No.
Great idea.
Trustee Fialko?
I do have a quick question.
Sure.
Because when I was on the Fest, this question got brought up, and it had to do with residency. Now, I know there was something that came up last month when I was on vacation, and I don't know if something was changed, but to be on the committee, you're supposed to be a resident. Now, if you wanted to make somebody a chair, I know that if you ask a trustee and nobody wants it, you can take a staff member and make them the chair. That's fine. But what I didn't read, and I'm not clear on yet, is if you still, to be on the committee, just like it was Mike Bonomo, they didn't want him some people didn't want him on the committee because he lived in Homer Township. So I don't know, does Ron, I guess it is kind of splitting a hair, but I just want to know where we're at. Does Ron Cuss live in Homer Glen? And I didn't even ask Jennifer, but I just thought of it now when you added the second person on. I don't know if you changed it at the last meeting. If you didn't, it's still, the requirement is still to be a resident of Homer Glen. So,
That's a question for me, I can answer.
Yes, please.
We did change the SOP to include that a staff member could be on the committee. The difference between Mr. Bonomo is he's not a staff member. He lived in Lockport. We changed the SOP to say that you can be a committee member if you are a staff member. So it doesn't matter where you live as long as you're a staff member. I mean, I think it kind of goes without saying, Ms. Vittori and Mr. Cuss are at every single meeting anyways. They are the ones in charge of what the committee is asking to do. I think they should have a little say in what their job is.
I understand that, but I mean, I shared the same concern that Trustee Stallin was talking about earlier. And if we're making all these changes, that's good. I think it's good that these changes are being made and that more people are being involved, and I welcome that. And again, I think Jennifer and Ron will do a great job.
Trustee Consolino? No. No, you have nothing for the amendment? Okay. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll on the amendment?
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Motion carries. Can you call the roll for the amended motion? Or motion as amended?
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Moving down to number 9. Consider for approval a motion accepting the bid proposal from Playtopia for the design, procurement, and installation of the playground equipment at Villas of Old Oak Park, not to exceed the amount of $250,793.40. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Reinders, Trustee McNaughton.
Correct.
Trustee Reinders.
This is the actual recommendation of the Parks and Recreation Committee. I would like to commend Jennifer and Ashley. They did a lot of hard work working with engineer Westcott, putting these bids together. When we reviewed the bids, it was unanimous at the Parks Committee that we chose this playground. And there's going to be several ways that we are going to be funding this. We did budget for the $250,000, but with the cost of how everything has risen over the last year from the time we started this project, we had to leave off a lot of important amenities like the pour and play and the pavilion. These are things that would be really important for the residents and for our inclusive and handicapped children but we are putting in materials that will work, but what we want to do is we want to approve this and then actually go out for grants. And whatever grants we get, we know we've already budgeted the $250, so we're hoping that with the additional grants that we can maybe put more of the amenities in to satisfy the needs of the inclusivity and the rest of the amenities that we were talking about. Here, could Jennifer Vittori, can she give us a little bit more background?
Sure, I'm going to go through all the trustees first, and then we'll have Jennifer Vittori speak. Trustee McNaughton?
Yeah, I think we're already working on or focused on the grants as well. This meets and exceeds all federal guidelines, including ADA. Seems like a very reasonable price. If you look at the pictures, it's absolutely beautiful. I know we just had to replace a slide in the public park in our subdivision. I think it was like $15,000 just for the slide.
I don't even use it.
Allegedly. So this looks great. We'll support it. Thank you.
I just have to say, I love the way you say park. It's kind of funny. Trustee Mason?
In the park. No, I actually talked to several trustees again today. And I talked to Jen, and she's doing a great job. I know this is going to take care of Old Oaks Estates, Chickasaw, Golden Oak. It approximately takes care of about 800 homes and who knows how many children in those areas. The only thing I kick and moan about all the time is if a new subdivision's coming up, and if they're going to build something, they should be self-sustained, and we should get ahead of it, and they should probably just like they grant us land or something, they should grant us maybe a park. And then we worried about maintenance in the future instead of building a brand new park. But no, she's put a lot of work into this. Mrs. Victoria has done a great job, and I went through it, and it looks like a beautiful park, and I'm all for it.
Trustee Stylen?
Yes, I like the look, by the way. The only thing is the amount is $250, and so I support that. But the pour and play was extra, another $138,000, and the drinking fountain was another $9,368 extra. And I would almost rather give. I really want to see the pour and play, and I really think parks need drinking fountains. So I would like, especially the drinking fountain, like if there was a way to finagle like sacrificing something for that, that would be my only thing, and I know this is not exactly the final design, so that's all.
Well, maybe they can compensate through the...
Trustee Fielko.
I hope we get the grants.
Yes, I think that looks fantastic. Looking into this just a little bit with Playtopia, these things are graffiti resistant, weather resistant, bug resistant, fade resistant, and they have a soft impact on them. The only thing, we put an addition in the park not too long ago, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and all that equipment, I remember Nicole Laha making sure that it was made in America, and I think it was from a company in Arizona. And I asked Jennifer earlier today, I called the company to see if it was made in America, because they don't have anything on their brochure that it's made in America. Now, what I was told is the things that are recycled are made in America, but some of the metal parts that they complement it with come from foreign sources. So I don't know if there's a way we can try and ask them to use all parts that are made in America. I don't know. And I don't know if that changes the warranty or what the warranty on this is. I know they make the claim that all these things are in there, but we want to make sure that we get a good warranty to back it up though, too, right? With that said, I think it looks fantastic, and I think it'll complement the neighborhood beautifully. So I am in support of it.
Trustee Consolino?
No, I do like the Playtopia a lot, but I mean, like, I was looking at the other designs, and there were some that were just as nice. I was wondering, because, like, you know, one of the comments was because it was more aesthetically pleasing to look at, you know. I want to know what the bigger sell was for the Playtopia, because if you're talking about the water fountain and the pour and play, maybe we could downgrade to one of the other RFPs and be able to include those two. So is that been considered at all? Because, like, I was going to ask if maybe we could send this back to Parks and have that discussed a little bit more. Like, what is the biggest sell for Playtopia?
So, are you done?
Yes.
So, I'm just looking at it, I don't see a contract in here.
No, this is not a contract.
Yeah.
This is just to approve the company to get the contract so we can get the design, so then we can go for the grants and then sign the contract.
Okay.
So this is just to approve Playtopia to do the designs.
Okay. What? Speak up. How many proposals did we get?
We had 4.
Are they all in here?
They're here.
Why can't I see them?
4 proposals.
Oh, they're on the one page. Okay.
Yeah, and one proposal had 2 different options.
Mine must be backwards, but I got that stuff. Okay, so I do like the pour and play. Obviously, my son wears leg braces. It's so much easier than mulch. I hope all of our parks get rid of mulch soon. Can't stand it. I'm not a big fan of the water fountains with everybody having their, Stanleys and everything. They all bring their waters anyways. And I just worry about the water bills and stuff like that, and you never know what can happen. If you guys want to bring it back to the committee, I don't think it's necessary. I thought we had to because there was no contract, but you're right. But we will see a contract before we approve it for the attorneys to review.
And the implications, if I may.
Was there who made the motion? I want to keep it in order. Trustee Reinders, did you have anything else?
Just that the committee went over this at length. I mean, we went over the committee went over this at length, and we agreed as well. I mean, we would prefer pour and play, but we're hoping that, with the money that we have budgeted and the additional grants, that we're hoping that we're going to be able to put the pour and play in a small pavilion. So those are that's our goal, our end goal.
Okay, Trustee McNaughton.
No, ma'am.
Trustee Mason.
Yes, ma'am. Again, I beat this up with Mr. C.J. McNaughton here, Trustee Stylin, and Trustee Reinders today, and they're absolutely right. The implications are $250,000 that's already been budgeted for, and the way Mrs. Victoria explained it to me today, that she is also working diligently to secure grants, and maybe we can do a combination thereof.
Trustee Stylin.
Yeah, thank you for bringing up the shelter, because I think that is really important for shade. I just hope we get some more money.
Trustee Fialko.
No, I'm just hoping we can, when we move forward with this, I'm thinking it's going to pass, that some of the things that I've asked about that we can look into, that being the warranty extended as far as we can get it and what that is, and to make sure we get as much of it made in America as we possibly can, similar to the playground that we put in the back. Thank you.
Trustee Cancelino?
If we don't get the grants, what budget implications are we looking at for then the added extras? Because you need the electrical is not included, correct? The shelter is included with the Playtopia design?
No.
No.
So, no shelter, drinking fountain, we're half and half on here. But as far as the pour and play, what would the costs then be on top of where we're at?
I don't know if we need electric. Goodings doesn't have electric. We have a solar light out there. We're looking at a smaller pavilion, something where we could seat a couple tables, not something that big, just to make it more affordable. We would like the pour and play to make it more inclusive. We think, we could get more grants, especially that way. This playground is inclusive. You have a continuous surface, which is the engineered fiber, 2 ramps, but making the pour and play would be a lot better.
But if we don't get the grant funding, how much do you think we would be looking at for the things that we all seem to be in agreement that we need?
If we didn't get the grant funding,
What is the pour and play? The cost of the pour-
$137,000.
Yeah.
But we already have 250,000 budgeted.
The concept, yeah.
I know, but we also just spent $800,000 on blank property, possibly for parks. We got to be fiscally responsible in here too.
Okay, we're kind of at an open discussion here. Mr. Torrey?
To get this playground moving forward, we want it just to be awarded to this company, pick a design, pick the elements that we want, and then go out for grant approval. If we don't have those, we can't move forward with it.
I understand that.
Yeah.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
I'll read that.
Trustee Cancelino?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number L10, consider for approval payment in the amount of $35,000 to perform Traffic Control Systems LTD for 2024 road striping program.
So moved.
Trustee
second that.
Cancelino, Trustee Fialko. Trustee Cancelino?
No, I'm good.
Trustee Fialko?
Nope, this is something we do annually. This comes up to be approved. It's actually, if the numbers are correct here, between the 50 and the 35,000, you actually save 30% under budget. It's 30% under budget. And again, Joe Baber and your staff, thank you for you guys actually taking that into consideration and getting the best price and being under budget. It helps us in the long run when it comes time to our tax levy, so thank you.
Trustee McNaughton?
No, ma'am.
Trustee Mason?
I love when we save money.
Trustee Stylen?
Agree.
Trustee Reinders?
Agreed.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Cancelino?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 11, consider for the approval an ordinance adopting the levy and collection of taxes for the Village of Homer Glen, Will County, Illinois for fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2024 and ending April 30th, 2025. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Mason, is there a
I'll
second?
second.
Trustee Reinders, before we begin discussion, I just have a quick question. At the bottom of the ordinance cover page, it says, published in pamphlet form by the authority of the President and the Board of Trustees of the Village of Homer Glen, prepared by Peterson, Johnson, and Murray LLC, Village Attorney, blah, blah, blah. Attorney Pascal, did you guys prepare this?
No, I do not believe that our firm prepared this. I personally did not, and I did not see that copy on any of the assignments that we put forward to this agenda.
All right, so it says staff contractors, Village Manager Joe Baber and John Sawyers. Who, I'm assuming, Mr. Sawyers, you prepared this? I did. Oh, I assume wrong.
Conjunction with John, I'm sorry.
Okay, so the two of you prepared this together. Does that matter that it says that on the bottom?
It has to, our names have, the village itself can prepare it however they deem how they want to prepare it. We just have to remove, for purpose of the public and liability and things of that nature, we have to remove our names as the preparer of that instrument from that first page.
So do I need a motion to remove this, or how does this,
Amend it?
just remove it, or, because it's not really part of the motion, but
Could it just be
the only reason
struck?
I'm asking is I didn't,
I would strike the pamphlet page.
That's what I-
A motion to strike the pamphlet, or strike the
The heading.
Language, the published and pamphlet form language from the actual packet before it's published.
Do you need to review this beforehand?
I would
that
suggest that
something-
we look at it. I haven't looked at it, ma'am.
The same one we've used for the last few years, correct?
Since '01.
Same ordinance.
And we've never had an attorney review it before?
Well, it's been reviewed by previous attorneys.
Well, what about the same firm last year?
20.
Is there any implication to us not tabling it?
You know what, I probably should have waited to the end, but I wanted, before,
Right.
we could just strike the bottom part?
I'll make a motion to strike the wording in the published pamphlet from and by the authority of the President of the Board, S. We can strike that. There we
Okay, so that
go.
was trustee Mason and trustee Fialko who made it a strike.
And should we base this upon attorney review?
That's up to you guys. That's a
I mean,
discussion
if the, you know.
amongst you. But I'm going to give it to, before we go back and forth, I'm going to give it to trustee Mason to bring up his questions on that or anything else involved in this.
No, not on that at all, because I know that needs to be stricken.
Okay. Trustee Reinders.
No.
Okay. Trustee Fialko.
We're talking on the amendment right now, or you're talking?
Correct.
Right, the
I'm sorry?
strike.
On the amendment.
The one that I seconded with Mason?
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Oh,
not-
you
nothing.
seconded? Oh, I'm sorry, I put Reinders. Sorry, trustee Fialko. You have nothing?
Nope.
Trustee Consolino?
Nope.
Trustee McNaughton?
No, ma'am.
Trustee Stylen?
No.
Okay, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll for the amendment to strike, whatever page that is and what he said?
Trustee Mason,
Aye.
trustee Fialko,
Aye.
trustee Consolino,
Aye.
trustee Reinders,
Aye.
trustee McNaughton,
Aye.
trustee Stylen.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries to strike. Is there any more discussion, trustee
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Wait,
Yes.
Yeah, he made,
Yes, ma'am. The village assumed control of the road district at the Homer Township Road District assets and most of their responsibilities. Additional funding is necessary to continue on, and I understand that, and I read through here, and I keep looking at the, you know, the taxation that's currently in place, and it's what we need in order to continue to operate and keep some of this equipment functionable.
trustee Reinders, you made the second.
Okay, yes. I don't have any problem with this because this is something we've been doing every year since the original levy was actually put to the budget. So I don't have a problem with it.
Trustee Fialko.
Yes, that is correct. We adopted the road district in 2020 and 21. That process took place. September when it was finalized. But this $1.5 million came from, the township actually had a levy of $4.some million at the time. To cover that, we did not need all that tax revenue to transfer over. So it was thought that the $1.5 million would be enough at that time. And it still took in some of our tax dollars that weren't included in this. But it was enough to cover what we've had to do and have not had to raise taxes. So this is a carryover for the last 3 or 4 years that I know of. The only question I have is in the ordinance itself, is where it says on, that would be page 2. At the top, it says beginning May 1st, 2024 and ending April 30th, 2025. I'm not, is that correct?
Well, it is correct, because from the auditors are going to book a receivable for the full 1.5 million, and they're going to also book a deferred revenue for the 1.5 million.
Yeah, but isn't this...
The levy will not be received until fiscal 26.
Do you mind?
No, go ahead.
Okay, but this is for the next fiscal year, right?
Well, we won't collect it until fiscal year 26, but the accounting firm that does the audit will book it as a receivable and a deferred revenue, which is essentially nets to zero, but it is part of the disclosure. So that heading is correct.
Okay.
But in addition to that, the monies don't come in until the following year.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
It is confusing.
Yes, so that would mean on page 3 in that right-hand side where it says levy 2024 tax year, which is now, and we're not collecting it for till the previous year, that would be correct.
Well, the budget numbers reflected on page 3 are from this fiscal year, which, you know, are consistent with us booking the receivable and the deferred revenue.
Okay.
Trustee Cancelino?
Okay, you know, I just want to be transparent, because we're talking about, you know, the same tax levy that we've frozen for the past several years, which was doable. But, you know, my concerns are, I want transparency. I do not agree with this is exactly what we need to operate, because it's not. When you're talking about, we're getting 1.5 million from the tax levy itself. I asked Director Sawyers, you know, how much was the Public Works Department costing us for 2024. It was $2,662,832. Projected budget for Public Works for 2025 is $4,084,437. And this does not include, correct, John, or if you could ask Director Sawyers, the wage increases that we're going to have and the expenses with the salaries for the union, for the upcoming Local 150 union.
John?
Well, the wage increase is reflected in the budget for 25.
That is, okay, so it is
Yes.
included in there.
Yes.
So now we're already at a projected over 4 million. You know,
Well, the budget that's reflected on page 3 came in at about $120,000 operating surplus. It also had a $250,000 contingency in it. So I'm pretty sure, just as of the 6-month mark, our revenues are about $500,000 ahead of schedule, primarily because of building permits. The board has not approved, to my knowledge, hasn't approved any expenses that weren't budgeted. So I would anticipate another good year. And you know, nobody likes tax levies, but
no,
you know, from my seat, it's an essential.
but what doesn't get covered by the 1.5 million comes out of our general fund, correct?
That is correct. Public Works resides in the general fund.
So I just want to be completely transparent with people as to why we have the tax levy, and no, it's not enough money to cover for Public Works Department. So,
Well, yeah, not in its entirety, definitely not.
thank you.
Trustee McNaughton?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Trustee Stylen?
Yeah, and I'd just like to point out that if I'm reading this right, we get $2,584,000 from other sources. And that is the advantage of being an incorporated area, that we get those other sources than just having to add a property tax. So we fund our village very well. Thank you.
I appreciate you for pointing that out. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Oh, was there anything else that there was nothing else? Because I know there was a question about attorney review, pending attorney review, or just letting it go. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Cancelino?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 12, consider for approval the 2025 Illinois Municipal League Risk Management Association IML RMA contribution invoice renewal in the amount of $124,452.90, plus the IML RMA membership renewal in the amount of $1,750 for a total of $126,202.90. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Reinders and Mason. Trustee Reinders.
Basically, there was an increase on here, but this is something that we absolutely need for our workman's comp and for the rest of, to cover the rest of our insurance liabilities. So I'm good.
Trustee Mason.
Fialko Mason? Yes, ma'am. Yeah, there was a little increase, but we also get a 1% discount. Yes, it's for insurance. It covers our buildings, it covers our equipment, it covers our employees, it covers every cost has gone up over the last couple of years. I can't say it enough times. So yes, we need to be cognizant of it, but at the same time, we almost wash the membership renewal fee. So I'm good.
Trustee Stylen?
No, go ahead.
Trustee Fialko?
With putting this together, what was the percent increase from last year? I know we do this on an annual basis.
7.41.
Yes. Actually,
Right there.
in the liability insurance marketplace, that's pretty good right now, with the costs significantly up for repairs, and our payroll is up. All the experience factors and the payroll costs are consistent with the increase that we see.
Right, and when we have more it's okay. When we have more employees, that does change the amount we pay, correct?
That increases the
causes it to
exposure
go
to
up.
workers' comp. That is a direct function of pricing workers' comp.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Trustee Consolino? And who's left? Trustee McNaughton.
Gotta have insurance. Necessary evil. Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 13, consider for approval and payment of the Village of Homer Glen September legal bills from Peter Johnson and Murray in the amounts of $31,044.50. We have Mason and Reinders. Trustee Mason?
I had to beat somebody this time. Yes, again, I went through it more than I wanted to, obviously, but between, like I said in the past, trustees beating them up, FOIA requests, Illinois Water, or Illinois American Water, the purchase of property. You guys have been busy. I do not, and thank you very much, Mr. Pasquinelli. I do not envy you. It reminds me of me not being retired.
Trustee Reinders?
All I can say is we've got a lot going on here. I went through this with a fine-tooth comb as well, and it confirms everything that I know, how busy we are at the village. So I have no objection.
Trustee Fialko?
Yes, I think there's been a lot of work that's been done. Council has always been cordial with us and giving us answers when we ask for them. And the only thing I ask is that Joe Baber, if you could, can I ask him or you want to?
Sure. It states it.
That he's gone through, I don't care.
Trustee Fialko, continue.
I want to make sure that Joe has said that he's gone through it and he's happy with it.
Trustee Consolino?
No.
Trustee McNaughton?
No, ma'am.
Trustee Stylen?
Yeah, my head was spinning looking at this. It was a lot of work. Thank you.
Joe, would you like to make your statement, your monthly statement?
I do concur with the invoice as it was been presented. I'm hesitant to say this, but I'm hopeful that it will be going down because we had a lot going on in the last few months with various property purchases and things like that. So I'm hopeful that this may start to decline.
Attorney?
Yeah, just for purposes of reference, about a third of the bill was related to the purchase.
I know.
And the acquisition of the property, the large piece for the wastewater treatment plant in the future, and the preparation of the post-closing license agreement, which we don't have this anymore.
I would like to add that I do like that I'm seeing the billing now for
It's easy to read.
trustees that you're meeting with. I don't see any of the correspondence or anything on here, but that's okay. I just, I'm glad that it's now detailed which trustee that you're meeting with. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino?
No.
Trustee McNaughton?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 14, is there a motion to consider for approval resolution number 24-018, a resolution approving a collective bargaining agreement between the Village of Homer Glen and the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150 Public Employees Division from May 1st, 2022 through April 30th, 2026. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Reinders.
I will second.
Trustee Mason. Trustee Reinders.
I just wanted to say, Joe, and to Village Manager Joe Baber, and to Mike Pasquinelli, and the rest of the attorneys, that it has been a long haul. I mean, we've been working on this for how long now? It's, what, 2 years maybe?
Longer.
Yeah, even 4, 3? It's been a long.
No, it's been longer than that, because it started when the previous board got in. So they're going on their 4th year.
Yeah. So I really want to say you guys did a great job, and I know we fought tooth and nail to try to save the village as much money as we possibly could, back and forth, but I just want to say that you guys really did a great job, and I'm really proud of where we got to, so.
Who seconded? Trustee Mason.
I don't envy anybody that has to sit in a collective bargaining agreement. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because I've done it. Again, this is why we pay our legal bills, but this is something that has been ongoing for 4 years. If it was me and I didn't get a raise for 4 years, I would have quit. So I get it. It's time to move forward. It's time to take care of what we owe.
Well, you might not get a raise in 4 years of your seat here.
But you may lose some money, but again, in the relevance, everything has gone up. My car gone up. We found out the other day butter was $7.
Trustee Stylen?
Yes, I'm fine with the agreement. I did find like a small little missing point, so I would like to amend the motion for attorney review of the document.
Oof. What about the timing on that?
The
attorneys have.
There was one little.
Yep.
There was one small little section that Trustee Stylen noted. She asked if it can get a little bit more clarity. I don't believe that that's going to be an issue in providing that additional clarity. It says 50.
Okay, it's on page 9. And if you start at page 8 with the compensatory time, it says employees may earn and accrue up to 50, and then it says of compensatory time. It doesn't say 50 what, minutes, hours. It's just, I think that should just be in there.
And I believe that should read 50 hours.
That's what I would guess, but it should be in the so just to make sure that things like that are in the document.
A good point, a great catch.
Yes, and may I say the ordinance itself does say subject to the approval of the village attorney as to form only, so with permission of this board, that would be the one area of clarification that we would make.
Can we approve it with that?
Just with that understanding.
With that understanding that would be changed?
Yes, Your Honor, you would be able to do so. The ordinance specifies that we have the ability to make some modifications to it, subject to form only. You understand what that form change will be now. Just to clarify that little point, there should be no issue with it.
Is the board okay with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
All right. Trustee Stylen, you were the last one, right? All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Oh, I didn't go this way? Oh, Trustee Fialko? She made the motion.
I did, I made the motion.
Okay, yes, this has been a long, long time. It's gone through a few mayors now, a few trustees. The thing is, not everybody gets what they want in union negotiations. And actually, it took its course. That was the right thing for it to do. Just like similarities on this board. We don't always agree, but we come to a conclusion in the end. And that's the way it worked out with Local 150 also. Everything took its course. It took time like it always does. If this was just a renewal of a contract, it would have been different. But being this was the first time that there's going to be a union on the property for Homer Glen, it's something new, and I'm sure there's going to be some things that the management part is going to get used to really quick. I had been on a board before that worked on putting contracts together for a union, so I know the hardships on both sides. But congratulations to both sides for all the hard work, I guess.
Trustee Henslino?
Congratulations to Local 150. It's a long overdue process, but I think it was done the right way. And I'd also like to say that it is going to cost us, from what we were just looking at with the public works levy, over $2 million. So I hope everybody's happy.
Trustee McNaughton?
No, ma'am.
Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino.
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, old business, discussion regarding the Historic Preservation Committee. Who brought this to the agenda? Nobody?
Yes, we did. I asked for it to be.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. We're all going to take a stab at that, it's Sue. So Sue, you want to take the floor?
Well, did you have something, Joe?
I guess we're still kind of researching
Okay.
on how historic preservation commissions are put together. We're a little unique. We don't have a historic downtown per se, where most communities have it, and that's their primary purpose in having a commission. We don't have we have some, I guess, older homes, but not a neighborhood of older homes that we're looking for preservation or designation or something like that. So staff and I are still researching how a committee like this would be formed and the specifics of what its purpose and goals would be.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to add, this would, you could designate historic areas, you know, like where you put a historical marker on a road or whatever, but the commission would look into things like that, that would need to be recognized and preserved in the community. So we're still researching.
Perfect. Is there any more old business?
Did we talk about the preservation?
What preservation? What was down here now?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, you can talk about it. Oh, all right, go ahead.
I just want to say that we have so many historical areas within the village of Homer Glen, and I know that Sue, I mean, she's turned me on to like the cemeteries. I love the older cemeteries.
Hold on.
Seriously, I mean, so I know this is going to be great. I mean, you hear so many families talk about all the different, you know, all the different the histories of their families, and the post office that was, you know, at 167th and
Right.
Parker. So I mean, and to put a historical marker and to recognize these areas, I think is going to be very beneficial for the community. And I think it'll open up some doors for us on some other things as well. So.
Thank you,
Good
Trustee
job,
Reinders.
Sue.
Do you have
Good
anything
job,
for
Sue.
the
And Gia.
historic
Oh,
preservation?
not for the historic, no.
Trustee Consolino, do you? Trustee McNaughton, do you?
Nope, full support.
Yes, I agree with both Trustee Consolino, or Trustee Reinders and Trustee Stylen. I think history is very important, and we have the Founding Fathers Cemetery, as you just mentioned, and there's going to be other reasons, and there's so many historic farms, barn houses, houses.
Barns.
I believe, Madam Mayor, you and I were driving by one, and we pulled over and looked at it even. I mean, so absolutely, history is a very integral part of our community.
And let's not forget Ross School, one of the oldest schools in the state.
Oh,
I do want to thank Trustee Stylen for something. She found a box of our first newspaper that we had in the basement. It was a full box of all the newspapers in order of how it went. And then there was some documents that just happened to be in there, and they were historical documents. And it was really cool to see the first document that was created in the village of Homer Glen and all that stuff. And she rescued it from the basement. I know she's been down there digging around to find more stuff. But she brought it upstairs. I don't want to say where, but we're trying to put it into a fireproof safe just so we forever have something like that. I think it's pretty cool. So thank you, Trustee Stylen, for all that work. I know you pointed out some other things like a farmhouse and an old house, and even on Konos Farm, they have the Tilsey barn and the train station, and the Boo property is historical. So
Trustee Stylen had pointed one out to me too after we did the BP pipeline, and I didn't realize it was there. And I mean, it's pretty cool. And she even knows stuff, like who lives there.
She
And
knows
yeah,
stuff.
right.
We have a trustee
right.
who
She
knows stuff?
She's been around. No, she's been around. So no, she knows things.
All right. So we're
As far as the historic stuff,
Yeah.
this board and previous boards to us have, and you've been involved also as a clerk at that time and maybe even as a trustee, but we have always taken and tried to preserve or put something on a piece of property. 143rd and Golden Oak, we saved some stuff there. We asked for plaques to be installed there. Dunn Farm, when that conversation was going on. So I'm sure this will complement both of them. But as far as we're talking about history and finding articles in the basement, I don't know why, our hall here, it'd be nice if we made a history hall.
Yep, that's what we were talking about.
With trustees, with articles like Sue found and other things. So that's all.
We were actually looking at display cases already, getting prices for it. All right, anything else for old business? Trustee Fialko.
Yes. I'll just say all of them at one time so Joe can kind of address them if you'll allow him. Salt, we've got snow coming up, it looks like short.
No, we don't.
I want to make sure that we are good with our salt. Our snow plows are all functioning. We know that. I'm hoping they are. And the percentage of streetlights that might still be out that we talked about months ago and how it was being addressed and where are we at with the percent that are back on and maybe the percent that are still out.
Mr. Baber, salt.
Salt, we're fine with salt. It's over, our salt bin is overflowing with salt, so we should be fine.
Snow plows.
Snow plows, we've made a big investment in our trucks and our plows this year, so I believe we're fine with the trucks and snow removal as well. On a side note, I asked the residents to be careful when they're putting snow in the streets, and even right now, leaves. I've noticed a lot of people putting the leaves from their houses in the streets, which are gonna block up sewers in the streets, so please put it in the cans. I think till the end of November, Homewood is still collecting in their yard waste receptacles, so please use those.
And streetlights.
Streetlights, I'll have to get an update on that. I know we had addressed a few of them at one time. I'll have to check into
Get an update.
the numbers and percentages and things like that.
Is there anything else for old business? Trustee McNaughton?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I have three things. Just wanted to follow up to Trustee Mason's comments on Ron Cuss. You know, he also serves as the code compliance officer as well as the EMA director, as Trustee Mason referred to. You know, he's tasked with enforcing local ordinances and codes to ensure safety and compliance. Wanted to thank him again for his services with that. Also wanted to thank Trustees Stylen and Reinders for their work around the Community and Nature Foundation, helping to bring in additional funds for the village. Thank you both. And then finally, you know, the Village of Homer Glen, we've demonstrated strong fiscal management, consistently maintaining budget surpluses in recent fiscal years. We have a greater budget surplus than many of the villages surrounding us. I believe, as of the most recent treasurer's report, which we reviewed tonight, total cash and investments of $48 million. Very difficult in this day and age to be not in the red nationally or on a local village level. So great job to the board and the village for running at a surplus once again.
Thank you for that, Trustee McNaughton. Trustee Stylen, do you have something?
Yeah, I just have a question for village manager.
Joe Baber, you're up again.
We had talked about lowering the speed on 143rd Street, and I was wondering, is there any progress on that, or what needs to be done, or anything that needs to be done?
We would have to approach the county on this since it's their jurisdiction. I would probably take this back to public safety and get a recommendation for them, maybe for support of the board then, and communicate that to Will County.
Okay, because I do remember county board member Balich at one of those meetings saying all you've got to do is write to get those speed limits lowered, and I know that that's a big issue for our residents.
It doesn't work.
Good luck.
It doesn't work. I just have one thing, Long Run Creek. Thank you, Joe Baber and Brett Westcott. We're getting some phone calls, some emails regarding Long Run Creek. It's been an ongoing issue for years. I know Trustee Mason and I got out there one time and walked it. We have residents asking, we're going to send out a letter to the residents reminding them that it's their property, that they need to go out there and how to keep it clean and what they need to do to help keep the flow going. I know Mr. Westcott went out there today on our property and cleared out some beaver dens, and I asked him how he could do that because I'd be afraid of the beavers biting me, but he went out there in his waivers and he took charge and he lowered it by 5 inches, you said? Roughly 5 inches, and the residents around them were very happy. So just want to remind the residents that we got to get out there and clean out those dens. Not we, but they do. Okay, new business. New business? New business?
New business, I'd like to know about these beaver dams. So there were beaver dams that may I ask?
Is it dams or dens?
Were they dens or dams?
Yeah, I don't even know what the difference.
Well, I know.
There's a huge one over on South.
I believe they were just dams. There were no beavers that came out when I started.
Well, I'm just wondering, so you had it, they were damming it up? How much damage to the trees?
So it was 3 rather large groupings in the 3-cell box culvert at Kickapoo underneath there. So this information's been shared with Public Works. They're gonna get it on the docket here, probably take care of it the next couple weeks here, upcoming. They'll go in there and kind of chop everything down, and then if we get a good rain event, it generally just washes that stuff downstream. You'd be surprised, it's a lot of little sticks. There are some big logs in there, but it's a lot of little sticks.
So we just had issue on our property, and just on one side of a creek, they dropped 18 major trees, and they dropped another 17 over on my brother-in-law's side of it, and then they dropped another 20-something on the back side of it. So they can do a lot of damage real quick. We were flooded in our lowland area, and basically I have a contact if you need with it's a ex-Will County Sheriff who works for the Forest Preserve and can get expedited answers to clear up that area if needed. And we haven't seen a beaver, we haven't had another downed tree, and I have dry land.
So, Sue, did you have anything for new?
Yeah, I do have one. I just, after tonight, we had that petitioner for the variance that didn't get a permit before they began the work. And they, from what I understand, is the fine is 3 times the building permit fee. And that was about, and it was about $300 altogether. And that just seems very low to me for violating, to doing work without a permit. And I'm wondering, what do we do? Can we do something to review that? To me, it should be like a minimum of $500 if you do work without a permit.
You can do 3 times the amount, no less than 500.
Yeah, something like that. It just seemed like there needs to be an incentive for them to.
Trust, Mr. Baber?
Yeah, we're going to be, the building department right now is working on updating the building code. We do that every few years, so that'll be coming probably in the spring. So I'll let them know to make a recommendation to add that to any changes to the building code.
Okay, thank you. Isn't A&F supposed to be reviewing ordinances too? Taking time out to, wasn't there an ordinance review committee
Well, we
too?
didn't have A&F this month, so I...
Just throwing it out there, pick an ordinance and start reviewing it and, you know, just go through them. Trustee Reiner, do you have anything for new business?
No.
Trustee Fielko, new business?
None.
Trustee Cancelino?
No.
All right, moving on to workshop, there is none. Executive session, is there a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel, pending litigation, and executive session minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Fielko and